Welcome to another episode of the OzzCast. This is episode 3, I believe, because I haven't been canceled yet. So everything is going well. Today's guest is very special to me. This is going to be Cottoncandy Hunny. Let's give her a round of applause. Welcome to the OzzCast. How are you?
Hello, I am good.
You're good?
Yeah.
Sorry, if I sound a little weird, I'm sorry. I'm still a little sick. I'm getting better, but it's a little by little. We'll get there.
Yeah.
I have so much to talk to you about, but first I want you to introduce me to these little critters that are next to you, because if you guys can't see this, but she has a mouse. What is that?
It's a baby doll, but it's dressed up as a lamb.
Okay.
And then this is my son Eric.
Well, that's a penguin.
It's a penguin, and then the hero Tsum Tsum from Big Hero 6.
Where do you find these things?
Well, I got this from my friend Cherry Bomb.
The penguin.
Yeah, she gave it to me for Christmas, so this was hers. Cherry Bomb also gave me this because she went to Little Tokyo and she knows how much I like mouse.
It's a pink mouse, right?
It's a white mouse.
White mouse. Why is it pink?
Oh, that's the blush, and it squeaks.
Oh, okay.
And then this, my friend Jin, she got it for me because she knows how much I love EXO. And she got me a little baby doll of one of the members. And then this I got back in middle school. We went to Hot Topic in City Walk. Okay. And they had it.
Is that what I was there when you bought that, right?
No, this was back in, I think it was grad night.
Grad night?
So I got this, and that's been one of my lucky charms since. And I always bring them whenever I go, like, sleepovers.
They're always here, I swear.
Yeah.
I think they're here in my room more than me. I'll tell you that much. But, how are you?
I'm doing good.
How's everything going?
Pretty good.
I have this doubt. Talk to me. What grade are you in?
11th.
What's high school like now? Because when I went to high school, it was clubs, basically, like squads as they call it. They had the paisitas with the boots and the hat and the belts.
Right.
They had the Asians, the jocks, the cheerleaders, the outsiders, which I was part of the outsiders because we would play a lot of Pokemon.
Yeah.
We play the Pokemon cards and talk about wrestling. So I was in that club, and then it was the nerds and stuff like that. What's high school like now in 2020? Because, again, I went to high school back from 01 to 05.
Right.
That's a long time ago. Right. So what's high school like now?
Well, high school, there's also cliques, but it's a different kind of cliques. Like, we have the skater kids, the nerds, like, not nerds, like the geeky nerds. Mm-hmm. And then, like, you have, like, your emos or your aesthetic people who, like, have a certain style. And then we have some kids who, like, come and they're, like, the little cholitos. Okay. Like, we still have those. And then...
Are they still in the same uniform? A white shirt and whatever?
No,
blue?
It's more like any kind of brand, like Champion or, like...
The Supreme,
things like that.
Okay.
And then you have, like, the art kids or, like, the LGBT kids and the theater kids, which is, like, my friends. Mm-hmm. And then you have, like, a few metalheads, a few goths, a few emos, you know, those people. And then you have, like, your K-pop fans and then your dancers, because we do have, like, a dance class/club.
Right.
And then you have your smart kids, obviously. And then there's just, like, a bunch of groups. They just group amongst themselves. But I think the ones that shine the most are the skater kids, because they always come with their skateboards and, like, their certain styles and all that stuff. And you can tell because there's this, like, bench, like, this table where the mall area is, where the cafeteria is, and they have, like, their little circle there. And anybody who has, like, a skateboard or anybody who's, like, amongst that group, they, like, hang out there.
And who do you, would you identify with the most?
I would say that I'm more of, like, a mix of an art kid, a theater kid, and then the K-pop kids.
Talk to me about art. What kind of art do you like?
I really like art that's, like, cartoonish.
Okay.
And I also like Tim Burton.
Oh, okay.
Tim Burton, I really like that style. And then I like anime, like manga.
Okay.
And then, like, horror art, that's really cool to me. And then, like, there's also, like, K-pop artists that draw, like, the characters that I really like.
Right.
So I would have to say mostly, like, styles that you see, like, Studio Ghibli or, like, Tim Burton and like some manga artists. Like one of the I don't know her name, but she made Fruits Basket, which is a manga. Okay. And like I really like that style.
You talked about horror and anime. Mm-hmm. Would that lead you into creepypastas?
Oh, yes.
What's your favorite creepypasta?
My favorite creepypasta has to be probably Bloody Painter.
Well, tell me about it.
Bloody Painter, he's this 15-year-old boy, and he was always like the quiet kid. Okay. And growing up, he was forced like to be raised as a girl because his parents wanted a girl, but then he reached school and like he had to act like a guy. He couldn't dress up as a girl, but that's where he got the femininity right. of himself. He's not like those buff kids.
Perfect.
But then in high school, there's this boy named Tom who's bullied, and I guess he decided like he didn't want to be bullied anymore, so he framed Helen, which is a Bloody Painter's name. Helen, he got a watch from this popular chick and he put it in his book bag.
Right.
And when they were all looking for it, they found it in his book bag. So after that, they started bullying him. Uh-huh. And then Tom and him, they become friends, and they're close friends. They're hanging out. They're talking on Facebook. Okay. And then Tom tells him, like, we need to meet up. And they go to, like, the top of the school building. Right. And Tom tells him, oh, I was the one who put the watch in your book bag because right. I was tired of being bullied. Right. And that causes Helen to get mad, and they have this fight, but it leads to Helen, I guess Tom fell off the building, but Helen held on to him. And he was like, oh, like, I'm going to help you get up, but Tom, like, let go. Right. And he died. So they all assumed that Helen was the one who killed him. Right. So after that, they just started bullying him more. And Helen started feeling like upset, but then he just stopped caring. So he started killing people. Like, I think he killed like a few girls that were like, one of the girls was the one that assumed that he stole her watch. Right. So that happened. And then like, he's also like an artist. That's why they call him Bloody Painters. Yeah. So when he makes his art, he uses like human bodies, or like he'll draw them and all that stuff. So it's like really cool.
Because you like creepypastas, are you like an avid fan of horror, or it's just like something that you see like on the side?
I wouldn't say I'm an avid fan of horror like you are, where right. you know like all the horror movies and stuff. Yeah. I'm more of like, I would love to get more into it because, you know, I was never able to get into that stuff because of my parents. They thought I would get nightmares. Right. So when I first got into creepypasta back in middle school, it was something new, and it seemed really cool because I was so used to like the, you know, Freddy Krueger or Michael Myers. I was right. never used to like this type of horror. Right. So when I got into it, it was like a whole different type of horror, like the stories or the ARGs, you know, stuff like that. Right. So I would say I'm like getting to that point, but there's still a lot I need to like get to know. I remember a few years back, I used to show you the Mr. Nightmare page on YouTube, and yeah. we would watch those videos. Yeah. To the point that your mom had to call me and tell me, can you not watch it? Dial it down just a little bit because she's having nightmares sleeping with the door open. Yeah. So, yeah, I remember, but I try to show you a couple of horror films here and there. But it's so hard. I mean, there's a lot of horror, but it's so hard to find good horror. Yeah, like, I think the first horror movie I ever saw was Halloween. That is, you know what? We could stop the interview right there because that's the best answer you're ever going to give. Yeah. That's one of the best movies. That's my favorite movie of all time. But I'm just messing with you. Go for it. That was, like, the first ever horror movie I saw, and it was really good. Like, I personally liked it. And then when we went to go see Halloween again, back in 2018, I believe, it was super good. Like, I was, like, really into it. Like, it was a good storyline. That's the best one that I could show you, because, again, that's my favorite movie of all time. So. And it's a classic, too, so. Oh, it's amazing. It still scares me to this day. You know, sometimes I'll have nightmares on Michael Myers. It's funny. I'm 32 years old. I still have nightmares. Sometimes I'll be like, what the hell's going on right now? But tell me about theater. How did you get into theater? Well, what first got me into theater was in middle school, because we would go to these things called the Ramona Challenge, which was like this all-girl high school, and they would have girls from other middle schools that were like private schools, because I went to a private school. Right. They would all have these girls, and they would try out a specific talent or subject. And for me, I guess since they just saw me and they're like, have her do theater. And that was something that I never once thought about, because I was never really into acting. So they were like, you need to do theater. And I was like, okay, like, what do I do? Like, do I have to read off of something? And they said, you're going to be Anne Frank. Right. So they drilled me on, like, this entire monologue about her talking to Peter about, like, the sky and how she'd love to go out because they were in the annex, I believe, or the basement.
The basement.
Back when, like, they were hiding.
I could be wrong, and I know there'll be comments on that.
So, what happened was that I have to act it out.
Right.
So, I acted it out, and I have to, like, portray her, and I have to be able to show in my voice that I'm describing a place. Mm-hmm. So, I did that, and, like, I was dressed up all in, like, a pencil skirt and, like, my dress shoes and, like, a button-up, like, shirt and, like, one of my knitted wool vests or whatever, like, a sweater.
Yeah.
Or cardigan. And, we go to the high school, and there's a bunch of other actors. And obviously, it was my first time ever doing theater, like, per se.
Right.
So, obviously, there was ones that were just better than me because they had more practice.
Yeah.
And when I got up, my teacher was there because she was the one who was like, I was having a sense of doubt in myself when it happened. I was like crying. I was like, I can't do it. But she said, I believe in you. That's why I chose you to do it.
Right.
So I did it. And then, like, you know, the whole where they give awards. Like, I didn't get an award, but I still felt good at the end because it was like, oh, I tried something new. And even my teacher said that she really liked how my performance came out. So we don't do it. That was 6th grade. But we didn't do it 7th grade, but then 8th grade we did it again. Mm-hmm. And they knew that I did theater for 6th grade, so they made me do Scout Finch from To Kill a Mockingbird.
Oh, okay.
And they only casted me because they saw my short hair.
Yeah.
So they just assumed, okay, yeah, have her do Scout. And I said, like, okay, I'll do it. So I picked out a monologue, and this is when she's talking about, like, the person that she saw when Jem was, like, on the floor, and he was fighting, who was it? It was like, I think it was Boo Radley that was fighting that one dude.
Yeah.
And
it's been so long since I've read that book.
I haven't read that book in a while. So, she's talking to, I think it's the sheriff and Atticus, and she's telling him what's happening. And I have to recreate that, so I got, like, overalls. Like, I even took grandma and my mom to go find overalls, and they're like, why do you need this? You know, all that stuff. Yeah. So I'm all in overalls. I have my Converse on, and, like, my hair is all messy. And I do it. And the thing is that kind of made me bummed was that I kept my glasses on.
Oh, okay.
And you have to, like, be a character. So I was basically Scout Finch with glasses on.
But you're blind without glasses.
I know, but, like, I had to... I completely forgot. They just said, like, take off your glasses. Like, you can see without. I'm like, yeah, I can just not see far. Uh-huh. So I didn't do it, and I felt bad. But, like, when I met up with, like, some of the actors that were in there... they said that they really liked my performance. Yeah. And that I was like, oh, thank you. Like, even some of the ones that did really good, like, they put their heart and effort into it. Like, they even said, like, I really liked your performance. And that really made me happy. But once I entered high school, the first play I think we did was La Pastorela, which is basically about the nativity.
Yeah.
And I wanted to try out, but the thing is, I thought you needed to go beforehand to get a script, and then you have to go and practice your lines. Like, you have to recite a line from it.
Right.
But... they didn't do that. You can just go in and give you a script, you read off of it, and then they'll see, like, oh, we'll call you back to see if you got a part.
Right.
So, I didn't do it until this year, when I did Stand and Deliver, which is based on, you know, our high school.
The high school, yeah.
And,
the Jaime Escalante story.
Yeah.
Of how he helped, the calculus class. He started teaching calculus, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
They didn't have calculus in Garfield High School back then. So he started teaching calculus to the at-risk youth, and they did really well. Yeah. Because they were really smart at the end of the day. Yeah, I remember that.
And I got the part of the secretary, which made me, like, super duper happy because I was really just down to do this play because it was something new, and I always wanted to do acting. Like, you even told me you should try acting because you're very dramatic. Like, whenever I would cry and be like, you don't understand, Mom. Like, you just be like, you should be an actor. Right. So I decided, okay, this is something new. It's junior year, might as well.
Right.
So I did it, and my teacher... it was tech week, and I was just there doing, like, my homework while they were doing it, waiting for my part, and he just comes up to me, he's like, I respect you, like, you put in a lot of effort into this, even though you have a very small part, and it makes me happy that you're putting in all this effort, even though, like, you're just a secretary. It's like, oh, well, I just wanted to, you know, try something new.
Right.
And when I came back, because we're doing Aladdin, so, I was very happy, because although we all wanted to do Little Shop, because it's something new, and, like, almost everybody was like, we should do Little Shop, but our teacher was like, no, let's do Aladdin, like, it's something new, because they did Beauty and the Beast last year. So we're doing Aladdin, and I'm going to be the head of the guards, Razul, and I'm also going to be the Cave of Wonders.
Awesome.
And during the tryouts for, like, our lines, our teacher, because we were partnered up, so I was with one of my friends that's in my English class, because she's also trying out. He tells me, it's like, I love your dedication. Like, you had a very small part last play, but, like, you put in so much effort, and it means a lot. Like, you'll have my respect.
Right.
So that meant a lot to me. It's like, oh, wow. Like, even though it was such a small part, I still did my best. And then, like, I like that when I did the play, you just said, like, that's my baby or whatever. It was funny.
I'm so proud of you. You know that. You did amazing. I was very excited to see you at the movie theater.
Yeah.
Not the movie theater, but the actual play.
Yeah.
Do you feel, especially more now because this is East LA, you know, do you feel that theater is losing its balance at least in the Latino community, because you really don't see people going for it, at least here?
I believe what it is that since people are so focused on the sports part, that they forget that there are other things, like the arts. You rarely ever see, like, acting or art, like, you know, poetry, music, all that stuff here, because everyone's so focused on, like, oh, well, we have sports, or, oh, get good grades.
Right.
But you lose the whole point of the creativity that's in the community. Yeah. Because if, like, you were to just, like, do sports and, like, have good grades and, like, okay, that's fine, like, I'm not mad about it, but you miss the part of acting, because that's also something, like, you can go on a play and you could, like give a whole monologue or be a character. Some like let's say you're shy, but when you're a character you feel like a whole different person and you have more confidence. You miss out on that stuff, because, like, I personally think that when someone's in theater, you start getting out of your comfort zone.
Okay.
Way more.
Yeah.
Because you're on stage or you're in front of a group of people.
Yeah.
Like, I have theater class and it's beginners, but we have to do monologues and we have to do, like, one of our assignments right now is we're writing a play of a story that we talked about.
Right.
So, like, we're doing stuff like that, and it's, like, really cool because there's some kids that are really shy in that class.
Yeah.
Like, even kids that are in, like, sports or, like, they're one of the smart kids, you know, stuff like that, they're still putting in their effort into something new. And although there are kids who are like, oh, I don't want to do it, like, I don't like being on stage, it's still fun because you're trying something you never thought you'd try, and maybe, who knows, you'll want to consider being in theater.
Yeah.
So it's like, I personally, I think that it is kind of, like, underrated how, like, how theater helps and how art helps and all that stuff, because you can try something you like, you're new to, and it could also help you, like, maybe get into something you didn't know you could do.
Yeah, I personally love theater. I remember when I was in high school, I took it was a drama class, and I really, really enjoyed it because, especially sports, nothing against people that have sports, and I'm stuttering because I'm trying to figure out the right words so I don't get any hate.
Right.
Nothing against sports, but it's so overrated. Everybody's wants to play football. Everybody wants to be the big star, you know, and theater, like, exactly like you said, theater gets you out of your comfort zone. You know, people that play sports, it's a more physical aspect, while theater is just like, okay, how am I going to entertain this amount of people? And, you know, because at least when it comes to stuff like that, it's I don't know, it's you get a much more satisfaction that you brought joy to somebody, at least for an hour and a half or 2 hours, depending, rather than I scored the touchdown, yay me, you know? But I want to go back to theater. Do you see it going long term for you, or do you see you after high school, this is what I want to follow, this is what I want to go on? What do you see yourself doing?
Well, I actually see myself trying to be an actor. Okay. Because that's something I've always wanted to do since middle school. I just didn't have the confidence to until now. Yeah. So I would love to go into, like, a theater program or, like, anything like that, just so I can, like, try to act more and, like, do something new. Like, you know, I can't really dance or sing that well, but I can try for a musical. Yeah. So I would love to start acting. Like, that's one of my minors, because, like, my major would be psychology, but I need to, like, learn to do stuff a certain way.
Interesting. Okay.
And, like, I would love to do psychology, theater, or I would love to be, like, an English or literature teacher.
What do you think you want to do as to psychology? Do you want to be a therapist, or do you want to be...
I would like to be, like, a school counselor.
Okay.
because since I always like had I had school counselors back in middle school, and like I've been to a school counselor back in like freshman year.
Right.
I would love to like be able to talk to like students that say like, oh well, like my parents, they don't understand me because like I'm stressed because of my education. I'm stressed because I want to make them proud, or I'm gonna be like a first generation like, you know, high school graduate or college or whatever. And like I would love for like to give advice or like hear them out and be like, oh well, I personally think this, or from this I can like give you this advice.
I think that's great. I think schools need more school counselors, because I mean, especially nowadays, everybody's so pressured to be the best at what they do. And you know, my mom wants me to be the best, oh I gotta be the best for my friends and stuff like that. Why do you believe that? And I'm going to ask you this because you're in high school and you understand the angst of being in high school. What do you believe goes into somebody's head to, I don't know, just, okay, where I'm going with this is there's a lot of school shootings going on right now. So I want to know, why is school really that hard? Or is there a lot of bullying going on in school that makes somebody want to think, you know, this is the way?
Well, I think what it is like how you take it. Because, you know, when they say you can be strong or you can be weak. Yeah. Maybe that's not always the case, because even when you pretend that you're the strongest person there is, you're still breaking inside. Yeah. And I don't think it's like just because of like how hard school is, because it also depends on like the people around your school. Because let's say your school has a bunch of assholes, but you always bring it up to the principal or you always bring it up to a counselor, and they don't necessarily do anything about it, or they just say like, oh, it's just kids being kids. Right. It kind of just gives you a mindset that, oh, they're not going to help me. Yeah. And then when like schools say like, oh well, why didn't they like come to us, or we were there for them, why didn't they talk to us? You kind of start feeling like, well, schools aren't always going to be able to like help kids out. Yeah. Because they'll either think, oh well, get over it, or oh, you're young. Yeah. Or like they just don't care, because there are some school people like principals or teachers that, or like mentors, you know, stuff like that just really just don't see it as a big deal until something happens, and then it's kind of like a wake-up call per se.
Do you feel that they're at the point where they just don't know what to do or say to make people not think that way? Or they're like, I mean, do you just really think that they don't care?
Like, I feel like it's what they say, because if you word something a certain way, then they'll take it another way. Like, if you were to say, oh, I think that, oh, you should, like, what is it? Like, be nice to them and they'll be nice to you. You know, stuff like that.
So, because that's something that I've heard even when I was a kid, you know? Yeah. Like, one of the psychologies that I personally love is just like, oh, if that boy is punching you, that means he likes you. And that's such horseshit. Yeah. I'm sorry. I never punched anybody in my entire life.
So when they say, like, oh, when they're mean to you, they like you. Yeah. Like, that's not how it works. Like, that's not, like, those romantic things where, like, he was a bad boy and she was a good girl and, like, love, you know? Yeah. And that's what, like, they don't seem to understand. Like, they always give you, when someone's being mean to you, they always tell you, well, just be nice to them and maybe they'll be nice to you. Or maybe they're just doing that because, like, oh, they like you, or they just have a hard time, you know, putting it into words. Right. It's like, no, because they could be physically hurting you or cyberbullying you even. Right. And that's not a form of, I like you, I want to be your friend. It's more of like, I want to ruin your life, you know? Right. So I think some teachers and even some like parents or adults need to like put it in a perspective, like when they tell you like, oh, well, be in their shoes. Well, you have to do the same with your kid, because if you see this happening, you have to put it in their perspective too. Right. Like, if you see how tired they are sometimes, how they don't even want to go to school, maybe then you should realize, okay, this isn't just something because it's high school, or because like they're struggling with like school or like grades or whatever. There's something more to it, because behind every kid that's like stressed or like they're depressed or, you know, have something wrong where they just don't even want to be in school and they just want to stay in bed all day, there's something causing that. It's not just grades. It's not just like, oh, you have to go to college or you have to go to this like university or this career. There's always maybe like one, like a friend that they think is their friend is being toxic, or maybe like someone in their class is just treating them like complete shit. Yeah. And you need to start putting that into perspective, you know?
Right. And you know, I didn't realize this till the other day that we just came up on 20 years since the Columbine High School shooting, you know. And it's funny because we had just seen a few months back, I think sometime in November, we saw
Bowling for Columbine
by Michael Moore. Which,
yeah.
By the way, guys, if you guys have not seen Bowling for Columbine, it is
Hulu.
a fantastic documentary. You guys should see it. But the reason I bring up Columbine is because nowadays, people are obsessed with psycho killers.
Right.
I'm sorry, not psycho killers, serial killers,
right.
or shooters, or
right.
whatever. You know, I had a relative of mine during holiday break during Christmas break, tell me, oh, I wish I could be murdered by Ted Bundy.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Is that really what's going on? Are you guys, at least the generation now,
right,
not making celebrities out of these shooters, but they're fascinated by it?
I think what it is the way that they're being put into light all of a sudden. Because have you seen documentaries like Ted Bundy, the Ted Bundy tapes, and
exactly.
like that one movie with Zac Efron?
Okay.
They're being portrayed like these like amazing people. Like in that movie, like
right.
everyone was like on Twitter being like, oh, well, as someone who had like a relative be murdered by him or whatever, it hurts me that they're glorifying it.
Okay.
And I think what it is that when they see how much of a charming person he came off as, they think to themselves, wouldn't it be an honor to, like, you know, be killed by him or, like, get to know him? Like, I personally, with school shooters, you know how much of a fascination, like, true crime is to me.
Oh, yeah, it's a fascination, absolutely.
And, like, some people will take it the wrong way. They'll start thinking, oh, you're obsessed with them. Oh, you want to date them. You know, things like that?
Yeah.
And it's not necessarily that. It's just because you're so interested into the why this happened,
okay.
you know?
Yeah.
Like, something that Bowling for Columbine talks about is like, oh, well, they were bowling. Well, like, I personally don't know the person.
They were bowling, according to the documentary, they were bowling hours before they went to the high school.
Yeah. So, like, it's like, oh, well, we don't know, but maybe that could have been it, or maybe they went home and they were getting all that stuff ready. So, we don't know, but we say, like, oh, they were just bowling, and then here's this what happened.
Yeah.
So, you can put it into perspective with Ted Bundy. Oh, he was a nice guy. He, like, got girls to, like, help him. Like, he had a broken arm, and, like, oh, can you help me put this in my car or whatever?
Yeah.
And then, boom, disaster.
Okay.
So, I think they're, like, more interested in the build-up to it.
Okay.
And, like, how he portrayed himself. And then they don't really focus on he killed people.
On the crime.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, with me, what I think that's, in the book Columbine by David Cullen, something that bugs, like, me and a few true crime friends is that they always portray Eric as, like, this bad person.
Eric Harris.
And Dylan Klebold is the shy, depressed kid who, if Eric hadn't gone in his life, this wouldn't have happened. But at the end of the day, they also did the shooting. The both of them did. It wasn't just a one-person job.
Right.
They both had those journals. They both planned those, like, they put the pipe bombs, the shootings, the guns, all that stuff. At the end of the day, it was still them. Like, the two of them. Yeah. So we can't always just be like, oh, well, if it hadn't been for him, this wouldn't have happened. Because, like, I think it was also his, Sue Klebold who also said, like, oh, if Dylan hadn't met Eric or whatever in a TED Talk, then this wouldn't have happened. So they're basically portraying Eric as, like, the mastermind behind it all. But Dylan was also part of it.
So what you're saying is that they're blaming one person for brainwashing the other one.
Right.
You know, because these were horrendous crimes. It was a horrendous crime what happened in Columbine. I remember specifically being in the 7th grade, coming home, and that's what was on the news was Columbine.
Right.
You know, like I said, it was a horrendous thing that happened in hindsight. Back then, being I think I was like 11 or 12 years old, I'm still trying to process what is going on. You know, it didn't really make sense till I became 17, 18, 19. You start putting yourself like, oh shit.
Yeah.
This is really messed up,
right.
you know? But what you're saying is that they were blaming one person for brainwashing the other, but at the end of the day, they both committed the crime, regardless of brainwashing or not. We don't know. We weren't there. Yeah. We don't know exactly what happened.
This is just our point of view.
No. I get it. Just like this, that's like people have their conspiracy theory, as you call it, about the moon landing, and stuff like that, which is another fascinating, interesting thing that I just. You know, why? I mean, I'm trying to understand the psychology behind what goes into going your. How can I word this? Because I'm really trying to figure out the right words to say it. I'm still trying to figure out, is high school really bad? because, I mean, it's becoming a running joke now. Right. Where there's any type of shooting in the world. Right. And it's sad. Right. I think about the shootings in Texas where a man went into a Walmart and shot people because, you know, they were of Mexican descent. Yes. I think about places like Sandy Hook Elementary, which is sad. You know, I don't... And you know, people blame the president, they blame movies, they blame singers.
Video games.
Do you believe that mental healthness is real? And do you believe that somebody's mind can be that messed up, whether it be for trauma or it could be, you know, just a song that they heard? Do you believe mental health is real?
I believe so, yes. Because...
By the way, before you answer that, I know we have background noise, but we have people in the house, so I really can't shut them down. Yeah. So we're going to have to go with it regardless. But go ahead, I'm sorry.
Mental health is real because if you just, like, pretend to, like, think that your kid is just happy, but when in reality there's this, like, dark aspect to them that you're just not seeing because they're playing this act, then you start missing a lot of, like, red flags. Like... Adam Lanza, the Sandy Hook shooter. Okay. He was always in his room because after something happened with his family, he just isolated himself. Even, like, with the bond with his mom. So he just started isolating himself, and then he started, you know, on his computer and looking at stuff. He just... Because of that, it just kept growing and growing, and then suddenly he did the Sandy Hook shooting. So, like, it also depends on, like, if you start noticing that your kid is just, like... the day it happens, and you start thinking to yourself, why didn't they tell me, or why couldn't they have this? You also need to start noticing yourself, because if it's just them having to go to you and you not putting in the effort, it's kind of like you're forcing it. Right. Like, it's like when some parents, they're like, oh, well, why doesn't my son call me, or why doesn't my daughter, like, spend time with me? But when you're not calling them, or you're not asking them, hey, let's spend time together, you want to go get some dinner, you know, stuff like that, then they just start thinking like, oh, well, then they're fine.
Yes, exactly. Yeah. I'm gonna wheel this back. I'm gonna roll it back in because I don't want to turn this podcast into a sad thing because or like people's. I don't want to turn people into a sad thing. So I'm gonna go ahead and reel it in. Yeah. I'm gonna talk about something very happy right now. Right. Let's talk about love. Are you in love?
Yeah.
Tell me about love. Tell me.
Well, for me, it's because like, I have a long distance relationship. Okay. And he's basically...
By the way, she whispered, should I mention him? Yeah. Absolutely. This is the OzzCast, okay, baby. We talk about everything.
So, his name is YB, because that's what I jokingly call him.
YB, okay.
YB.
And we'll go with that. We're not going to put him on blast. Go ahead.
And I met him back in April 2019. Okay. And... I just like I had Instagram back then, so I saw him and he had art and he was also true crime obsessed. Okay. So I was like, oh, a potential friend. Okay. So I talked to him and I was like, hey, like, I think you're cool. And then he posted like a quote unquote face reveal, but it was actually just his hairline. Okay. And that's where the YB part came in because of his curly hair. Okay. So I was like, you look like YB. And he started like, that's how we started talking.
Who's YB?
YB is from Coraline, who's kind of
okay, from Coraline. Okay, right. Okay. Go on.
The little boy. Yeah. And basically, that's how... It was just an ongoing joke. And then, in the middle of July, for some reason, throughout that entire, like, April to July, I started having feelings for him. I just didn't know how to put into words, because he was also one of those people who was, like, not good at it, too. He didn't know how to drop hints or anything like that. Yeah. And I just finally told him... It was like 10 at night, and I was like, might as well. So I told him, I like you. And he said, oh, I feel the same way. And I said, no. I like you as in, like, I want to date. Like you. I want to date. He's like, yeah, I feel the same way. I was like, no, I don't think you understand. Like, I was in disbelief. So then he finally tells me, I like you. Like, I want to be with you, too. So I tell him, will you be my boyfriend? And he said, yes. Yeah. And, like, we've been dating for, like... 7 months, I believe, because I can't keep track right now.
Do you is being in a long distance relationship hard?
It is, because you would love for them to be here when you you need someone, right? Or like when you just want to like hug them or kiss them or just have that sort of like
intimate feeling, like, basically what they call it, POD.
Yeah, but also a good thing about long distance relationships is that you work on your communication, because if it's like a actual relationship, there are some people who just like, okay, we're together, we're showing affection, but you don't really talk.
Right.
And with a long distance relationship, you talk. Yeah. Like, you tell them, like, when you're having a bad day, or when you feel like, oh, like, life's not fair or whatever, you get to talk it out, and you get to learn how to help each other out in those situations, or how to at least help them feel better just for, like, a day or two.
Right.
Like, with him and I, we both have, like, our flaws, obviously, the things that put us down, but we're able to work in a way that we can both lift each other up. Right. When we feel as though, like, we're not going to be able to get out of this funk.
Right.
And what I always hated was when they said a long-distance relationship isn't a real relationship.
Okay.
Because my mom says that.
Okay.
Like, she told me when I first told her about him, she's like, oh, well, it's technically a friendship because you guys are, like, on dates or, like, you know, all that stuff. It's a relationship, it's just that it's not a physical one.
Right.
Like, we're still showing that we love each other. Like, when we video chat or when we call, we tell each other how much we mean to each other and all that stuff. It's not always just, oh, we're talking, like, in a honeymoon phase, you know?
Yeah, I get you.
Like, we still talk, we joke around, you know, stuff like that. It's just that we're just not here together yet.
Yeah.
Like, if it's, like, we both want it to be a serious relationship, even though we're still technically high schoolers.
Yeah.
We would love to, like, you know, meet up one day and, like, spend some time together, and we'll see if, like, gradually through time, if it leads to an actual serious relationship where, like, either I go over to where he lives or he goes over to where I live, you know? Mm-hmm. So, I do feel in love, mostly because, like, he makes me feel happy.
Right.
And, like, I've learned to love myself more, because sometimes it just takes someone to tell you certain things to make you learn to believe it.
Right.
Like, you can't, like, when they tell you, oh, you just need to learn to love yourself. But if you focus on everything you hate about yourself, how can you necessarily love yourself?
Yeah.
But when you have someone to tell you, like, oh, you're very beautiful, oh, you're smart, oh, I love your creativity, you know, stuff like that, you start believing it.
Yeah.
And, like, with me, I love it when someone tells me what they like about me, because that way I can believe it and be like, oh, maybe that's something good about myself. Yeah. Like, I used to hate my smile because it always came off as weird, but I've had people tell me, you have such a beautiful smile, that I start believing maybe I do have a nice smile. Like, there are times where I do jokingly put myself down, or I do actually put myself down, and you've seen it.
Yeah.
Like,
more than I've had more than my share, yeah.
Yeah. Like, you just need someone to tell you it, and that's all you need. Like, as they say, like, sometimes you just need someone to hug you and tell you everything's gonna be okay, just for one moment, for you to just feel like, okay, maybe I'll get through this.
Right.
But, I just feel like with as much, like, teamwork and effort and, like, trust, because it's a big trust.
Super important.
A big trust factor. Yeah. Like, especially because it's long distance and you don't really see them every day. So you can't just instantly, like, back then I used to think, what if he cheats, or what if this, or what if that? But now I'm more like, okay, I know he's not going to do it because he's told me countless times and he's proved me wrong. Why am I going to still keep worrying myself over something that's, like, illogical?
I tried doing a long-distance relationship, and I think we lasted, like, 4 days after she left. Just because it didn't work out.
Yeah.
You know? I mean, not because we didn't trust each other, but because it's not the same.
Right.
I mean, my relationship was different than yours. Because mine, we were actually together for months at a time.
Yeah.
And then she ended up moving to Kansas City.
Right.
So, I mean, but, you know, it's just... Trust is the main thing in a relationship. And again, I'm not saying we didn't have trust in our relationship, but it was more just like it just wasn't the same after she left.
Like, as they say, like, some people are just more patient and more willing to wait than others. Like, I talked to the queen about it, like, when I went over to visit, because her son, and we were talking, and she said, how do you do it? Like, I couldn't be in a long-distance relationship. Like, I need someone here. And it's like, because I know that at the end of the day, maybe it's worth the wait.
Okay.
Because if you love someone truly, even if it's, like, the distance, you'll wait for them. And if you just feel like, okay, maybe they're not the one, or maybe you want to try over here, then, okay, just tell them. And if they're going to be bitter about it, then, like, I'm sorry, you know, it's obviously going to hurt. But then maybe they'll find someone else. Mm-hmm. But, like, with me, when I love someone, It's just them.
Yeah.
And they always tell me, why don't you, like, look at guys here? What is it that he has that other guys don't have? It's not that I'm giving up on here. It's just that when you meet someone and you just feel like a really, really good bond with them, you just focus on them. And they tell you, well, you're missing out on someone who's probably giving you the eyes. Like, I get it, but...
Bitch, you are making fun of me because I told you that. How dare you?
I had to do it.
You think I didn't notice that?
I'm sorry.
Giving you the eye. Bitch, I said that to you.
I'm sorry. I had to call you out. But, like, I just want to focus on them right now. And, like, heaven forbid, like, something...
Knock on wood.
Like, something happened. Yeah. Like, okay, maybe I'll look at them and be like, hey, come here often, but let me just be happy, you know? But, like, with my mom, she's more like, oh, but this and this. And it's like, just let me be in a relationship and learn for myself.
Yeah. See, I wish I could be just like you because I've tried relationships here. Like, I'm at the point now where I feel like I'm not going to find love here in LA.
Yeah.
I'm going to have to move eventually.
Right.
Because I know that there's nothing out there for me.
Right.
I think I've had crushes on 3 people in the last 4 years of my life.
Right.
And it just didn't lead anywhere.
Right.
You know?
Right.
But I'm going to ask you for some relationship advice because I've asked around and I've done things. There was, like I said, there was 3 people that I had my eye on.
Right.
But it just didn't work out. What kind of advice would you give me to put myself more out there to find somebody? I'm not saying I'm going to find somebody. Like I said, I already gave up on love.
Right.
I know that's not going to happen for me. You know? It's a sad thing to say. That I just don't believe in love anymore.
Right.
But, like, what would you tell me? Let's say I'm 16 years old again and I'm saying, oh, Alondra, I wish I was in love like you. What kind of advice would you give me?
I feel from what I learned, don't always expect them to be like you. Because me and YB are completely different. Like, he's a metalhead, I'm K-pop upset, you know, things like that. And just believe in yourself. Okay. Like, if you strongly have a bond with this person and they feel the same way and they make you feel happy and they treat you right, like they aren't treating you like complete dog shit, and, like, you know that you're gonna commit, then go for it. But if you have, like, a hunch, like, oh, well, it's not gonna work out, and they're just giving you mixed signals, then, like, don't waste your time.
Right.
And if you truly feel, like, a bond with them, because, like, when I first met him, there was, like, an instant connection for some reason. Like, I didn't even know that could happen. It was, like, some Rosa de Guadalupe shit.
Yeah.
And, like,
okay.
I didn't realize it until I thought, oh, wait, I have feelings for him.
Yeah.
And that's what it takes. Like, sometimes you just need to meet a certain person, and if they... I really wanted to say tickle your fancy. Like, if they like catch your eye and you start feeling like a sense of like love or a bond and they feel it too, then maybe they're the one for you, not like forever, but for that moment.
Women are it's so fucked up how they send mixed signals though.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But I also do believe that I went after women that would not give me the time of day.
Right.
You know, and I know people are going to listen to this and be like, oh, Oscar, it's not like that.
Yeah.
You know, like I've had people tell me, there's somebody out there for everybody. You know, somebody out there is going to love you. And I just believe that that's such horseshit. Mm-hmm. You know, like somebody told me, exactly what I just said. There's somebody out there for everybody. Really? Then why aren't you dating me?
Exactly.
You're single too. You know? And then she said, oh, no, it's because you're my friend. And I said, so you mean that I'm not good enough to be your boyfriend, but I'm good enough to be your friend?
Yeah, like, you know how they make the jokes that girls friend zone a lot of people?
Yeah.
I don't know why, but from what I've noticed, it's because they want a specific person. It's just that you have a personality that they would like that person to have, but they just won't make the effort to change themselves.
Yeah.
And that's what's fucked up about love.
Yeah.
Because when you have such a high expectation on someone, they're not going to be there. If you just have like, okay, well, they're a really nice guy, but their looks, you know?
Yeah.
That's kind of
you know
fucked.
what? And it's funny that you said that. Like, I truly do believe that it's my looks. No, you could shake your head no all you want. I truly believe that it's my looks because everybody tells me you're such a great guy, you have such a great attitude, but yet they won't date me. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So I truly believe that, and again, no, Oscar, it's not like that. Why would you say that? I can already hear it. I believe that it's my looks.
It's just because of what you've witnessed or what has happened to you.
Yeah.
Like, I personally would always think it was like, oh, my personality because I'm too clingy or I'm too possessive or I just want to give someone a lot of affection.
Yeah.
And I just realized that, okay, if they don't want it, or maybe it's just not everyone's cup of tea.
Yeah.
But if someone is genuinely telling you that they love your personality, but they're not dating you because of your looks, that's kind of fucked up.
But they'll never say it, though.
Yeah.
And I'll give them that.
But they'll,
they never
like,
said
drop hints.
No, I had one of the girls that I really had a big old crush on. She's I'm trying not to give out too much information because they're going to figure out who they are.
Yeah.
And it's really going to scare the shit out of me.
Right.
But she is a waitress.
Yeah.
Okay? So I really had a thing for her. And, well, she has kids.
Right.
But, like I said, kids don't bother me.
Mm-hmm.
You know, a woman with kids does not intimidate me.
Right.
You know, so I love kids.
Right.
Doesn't really mean that I want my own kids, you know.
Right.
So it's really, it's not too bad. But, long story short, I knew that she wouldn't give me the time of day.
Right.
You know, oh yeah, you're fun, you're funny. Hi, friend, is all I would get.
Yeah.
Hi, friend. How are you, friend? Even now on Instagram, oh, hi, friend, or good to you, friend. Mm-hmm. You know, but like, I don't know. It's just like, and again, it feeds into the fact that I truly believe it's my looks.
If someone's gonna love you, they'll love you for everything about you. Mm-hmm. And if they just like you because you make them like you give them what they want, like, you know, where they say like, oh, do you love them or do you love the way they treat you, like as you've told me, like it always depends on, do they love you for you or do they just love you because you're treating them the way they want to be treated,
right?
And if they truly love you for you, then go for it. But if they just love you because you make them feel appreciated and you give them all your time, but they won't date you because of your looks or whatever, then that's their loss. Because at the end of the day, they're just missing out on someone just because they want this, like, muscle man or handsome actor, you know?
Yeah.
Like, I've met people like that. Like, Cherry Bomb. She has a type. It's someone that's white and, like, you know, Caucasian men, basically.
Yeah.
And, like, a jawline. She's obsessed with them. But she also tries to focus on personality because she's been hurt in the past and she just wants someone to love her for all her flaws.
Let me tell you the one thing that I look for in a woman. Mm-hmm. And it's not if she has a big ass. It's not if she has big tatas.
Ladies, fill out your resume.
No, literally, I want a woman that can make me laugh. And I have yet to find that.
One. Yeah.
I have met a lot of women, and they're nice people, great personalities, but they can't make me laugh.
Right.
You know? I mean, I can make them laugh, and I'm very good at telling jokes, but they can't make me laugh. And I think that's the one thing, that's literally the one thing I'm looking for, is somebody who can make me laugh.
Like, sometimes you just need someone to make you, like, laugh. Yeah. Because, like, you want to see if they're, like, show me your sense of humor.
Yeah.
Like, me and YB have dark sense of humor. And that's how we connect. Because, like, I can instantly tell him some fucked up joke and he'll laugh and put onto it. Yeah. But we know it's out of good fun.
Yeah.
It's not like, oh, you can't say that, you're offended, you know, things like that. Because there's some people who will get offended by it. But if they truly, like, they are confident with you and they are willing to, like, show you a side of themselves that rarely anybody sees, then, like, it also has something to do with your sense of humor. If you have dark humor, then go for it. And if maybe that's not their cup of tea, like you say, then just, like, tone it down. You don't have to instantly change who you are just for that person.
Right.
And, like, it also, like, you would need someone to make you laugh. Because if they're just this square that's boring, like, then you're just like, oh, okay, whatever. Like, you need someone who can make you laugh. And, like, even on a bad day, they can, like, joke around with you or whatever.
Yeah. Well, we are getting the wrap-up from my producer that's sitting next to my left, and she's telling me to wrap it up. So we're going to... Thank you so much for being here. Thank you so much for doing this, too. I know this makes you sometimes uncomfortable to record our conversations because we do talk a lot.
Yeah.
I see you all the time. We have great conversations. But thank you for being on the OzzCast. Thank you for giving me an opportunity to put some of our conversations out there. You know.
Thank you for having me.
Is there anything you want to promote?
North Suiza?
No, when is Aladdin going to be at the Garfield High School Gymnasium?
I believe it's in May.
Is it the gymnasium? No, it's the
auditorium.
Excuse me.
It's in May. I don't know the specific dates yet, but it's somewhere in May. And then I think it's 1 week. I think it's going to be 2 weeks. Okay. But it's only for one show the next week, I believe.
Okay.
But I don't have any specific dates.
Okay. Well, I do want to say that I love you. very mucho. Yay. And I'm very, very proud of you and anything that you do. You've been such an amazing person. You're an amazing person. I tell you all the time. This world is a better place because of you and your positivity. And I love you. And I'm very proud of you. And I look forward to the next 10 years where you're finally taking care of me because you're a big actress and I don't have to work ever again. Okay? All right, baby. I love you so much. Thank you for being here, okay?
Thank you for having me.
Thank you for listening, you guys. This has been another episode of the OzzCast. And once again, I look forward to seeing you next week. The Oz is what? He is out.